Sometimes it's good to be a jack of all trades. Remember the video where I said it's better to dig one deep hole in a bunch of shallow ditches? Well, this is the video where I argue with myself. Because I think there's an equally powerful argument to exploring the world around you and dabbling in things that interest you without feeling the need to dig one big hole, or without feeling that like somehow you're cheating the one thing you should be focused on. Here's what I mean by that. Part of being a well-rounded human being is knowing things. Sometimes knowing a lot about random things. Knowing things and details and information and facts and skills that have nothing to do with your income or your primary trade. It just makes you a better person or even a better citizen. And I think that's really important. There's currently kind of not a trend, that's too strong of a word, but there's the idea that like general college education is bullshit and what we need is only trades and only to focus on a degree that gets you money. And I do think that this is a valid reaction to the fact that colleges have really just cranked the dollar amount on even being a part of their institutions, but offered you no guarantee or help with like how you're going to pay it back, how you're going to be a functioning adult and make money in the world. And so it's sort of like, hey, we're going to charge you 6 figures, we're going to learn you some stuff, and then good luck with that. Oh, by the way, pay us back. And so I think there is a just and valid reaction to that. But as we go towards the path of like, hey man, these colleges should be helping you get jobs. They should be helping you find a trade or a living or a focus or a way to help pay for all of the things that they said they were going to charge you for. At the same time, there is a value to what's considered general education, which is that once you go into school, that you come out the other side sort of knowing a little about a lot of things. This is in the face of the idea that I keep hearing from my teenagers, both of them right now, which is, I don't understand why I'm studying this in school. I'm never going to use this in real life. And most of the time, that's true. But what I keep saying is, yeah, but that's not the point. The point isn't studying poetry because you're going to be a poet. The point is that all right-thinking human beings should have at least a fundamental understanding of poetry, because it's a part of being a magical human creature in the world. Basic math, even geometry and the shapes of things. These are things that should just sort of, at a fundamental level, live in all of us. And so, while I do think it's really valuable to like, hey, narrow your focus, get down in the dirt and do that dang thing. And don't go chasing shiny objects, keep trying to dig other holes. I also think it's really valuable to explore. And I'm gonna talk about specifically one of the reasons why in just a second. So, first, this is Old Ezra 7yr straight rye whiskey. Luxro, distilled and aged in Indiana, and for Luxro in Bardstown, which is, it's MGP, basically. And what they said was that it's 51, so MGP has all these different things, and they dabble in all these different styles. They've got malt whiskey, they got corn whiskey, they got bourbon, they've got multiple kinds of bourbon, they got light whiskey, they've got multiple kinds of rye. The two big ones are 51% rye and the rest malted barley, and the other one is their classic 95.5, which is 95% rye, 5% malted barley. According to them, this is a blend of those two ryes. So some of the ryes going into this bottle have a high barley content, and then some are the classic MGP rye. And I think that's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that rolls out, because it's also 114 proof. Ooh, man. It smells closer to the 95.5 rye, and that really super herbal, astringent barrel spice and cinnamon and clove, hint of licorice. There's a thread of honey that just sort of drizzles through. My left nose is doing a better job today than my right nose. It feels a little bit ethanol forward for me right now, but I'm going to try it and then I'm going to add water. Oh, hey, okay. Okay. I like this. And here's why. Oh, whoa, hey, that finish just got real dry. I liked this. Not as much at the finish. It's not bad, it's just... The 95.5 version for me is so punchy and so botanical and so herbal that I just can't, I don't enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of the 95.5 rye mash bill. But we've had, or at Crowded Barrel, when I was with Crowded Barrel, we had the 51% rye and the malted barley one, and that one was way softer and sweeter and a lot more round and approachable, and the rye was more enjoyable for me. This one, the nose and the finish are the 95.5, and the mid-palate and beginning is that malted barley. And so when I first took a sip, it tasted more like that high barley mash bill version, and it was really rich and all of the baking and all of the herbs and all of the spices, but with a lot of honey and sweetness and soft palate. Then it finished really dry. I'm gonna go ahead and add water now. Okay. Oh wow, it made it more. It sort of punched up the phenols and the slight astringent, and then it went straight into Jolly Rancher peach. That's bizarre. Okay. With a little water, it softens into that higher barley content rye, and it's really nice that way. So I'd say with a dash of water, this is a good whiskey. I don't remember what they're charging for it, but I like it, and it's well-rounded. It's a little high proof, but that's kind of the point, I think, for this. And so, and then that lets you choose whether you want the high proof or you want to add a little water and soften the edges of it. So overall, I think I enjoy it. Okay, so there's two reasons I think that you should be willing to go explore other things that have nothing to do with your main thing. Version 1 is so often innovation and learning and come from outside of your category. And so when you are stuck inside of a category, you improve yourself not by doubling down in only the things that your category touches, but by sort of exploring the world a little and learning new things and going like, oh crap, that's a great idea. No one in our industry does that. We should take that and apply it here. And this is sort of Henry Ford's invention of making cars with an assembly line. He didn't invent the assembly line, it was already happening. He went and saw it in another industry and went, what if we did that in reverse? And he pulled it in and started making cars piece by piece with 100 mechanics. Non-mechanics, actually. And so you learn and you widen your knowledge and your depth of as a human by spreading out and exploring the world around you, and you take that and it builds you as in your one thing. I'll say, we say this a lot in the Wizard Academy, which is, if you want to write good, read good. And what that means is, if you're in the business industry, so many business people only read blogs and nonfiction business books like Top 10 Ways to Marketing Campaign and how to, channel all of your blah, 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 blah into building an empire. And when they go to write, it sounds like that. It's just because the thing is, your brain doesn't invent things out of thin air. Your brain pulls from your history and your memories and your moments to craft something with your own unique spin to it. And so when you feed your brain boring, pedantic writing, then when you write boring, pedantic things. We always say, if you want to be a good ad writer, don't read books about ad writing. Read poetry and fiction and novels and story, because and songs, and read lyrics to songs and listen to music. These things get in your bones, and then you go to write, and it has an innate sense of rhythm and flow, and it makes you a better ad writer and a better writer in general. So that's reason one. It just makes you better at your one thing to sort of explore the world. Now, here's, I think, less monetarily direct one-to-one, but far more important for being human. I think whimsy is one of the most important things in life, and that is to do things sometimes just because you want to and they bring you joy, not because they have a direct one-to-one with your substance and your income and feeding your family. And I think a life well lived involves spending some time exploring things that bring you joy just to fill yourself. And when you do that, you go back to your main thing with renewed energy and renewed vitality and passion in a way that you can't if you just bleed the well dry of, no, I'm only focused on the one thing. So I think a life well lived is a broad level of explorations of things that bring you joy and things that interest you. And I hope that we all find time to carve out and pursue those things. And I'm really glad you're here. Cheers to you.